Hello, I'm Dr. David Kordowitz, and welcome to Programming. Today we're going to introduce MATLAB. We're going to show you how to get started and how to get help within the MATLAB user interface. Let's begin. This is the MATLAB user interface. The MATLAB user interface can be rearranged any number of ways depending on what you want. If you rearrange it and want to come back to this default layout, simply go to the Layout command here on the Home tab and select Default. It will immediately snap all the windows back to where they belong, making it easy if something gets out of place to find it or if something is missing to bring it back. Now, you may not like this layout particularly, depending on your personal preference, and may opt to lay out the window in many different ways. It's up to you how you want to do it, and if you do decide that you like a different layout, you can always save the layout to the way you want. But in the default layout, we're going to talk about the different windows that are here and their functionality. Up top, we have what we call our ribbon, and the ribbon has different commands in it in different blocks. Now, we have 3 tabs available now. However, as we do different things, more tabs may become available. Our first is the Home tab, and the Home tab gives us access to most of the commands that we're going to use at this time. So let's take a look here at the bar here, and this bar is what we call our working directory bar. Right now, I'm in my MATLAB drive. If you want to install the MATLAB drive and get it up and running, you simply press the cloud button over here that says access the MATLAB drive. Now, by default, the MATLAB drive isn't installed on your computer, and this will lead you through the procedure to get it installed. The MATLAB drive is a cloud-based service that stores your MATLAB code and makes it available on any computer that you are in front of. Another important thing to note is that you have access to your MATLAB drive should you go to matlab.mathworks.com to use the online version of MATLAB. Then below this, we have our directory listing, which tells us all of the files that are available in that directory. Mine is kind of messy just because I've been using it for a lot of different things, but you can organize it however you want. You can create directories, you can push things into directories and things like that. This is also a place that you can set published works that you are going to publish within MATLAB, although that goes beyond the scope of this course. The next window over is what we call the command window. The command window is the way you can directly interact with MATLAB by putting commands in and getting immediate responses. For example, if I say 1 plus 1, I'm going to get answer equals 2 on the screen, which is 1 plus 1. And then next to that window, we have available what we call the workspace. Now, the workspace is our current list of variables which are defined. And if you notice, we have a variable up here called ANS, and it has a value of 2, which is what we set over here. Now, MATLAB, unlike C and C++, don't require variable declaration. So, in other words, if I want a variable called a that I'm going to say is equal to 5.5, I can just type a equals 5.5, and now we're going to get a variable in our workspace called a that has a value of 5.5. That's quite handy because you don't necessarily need to think about the variables before you actually create them. Now, it's important to note that the way I'm typing these in, I'm getting what we call an echo. So I'm getting a response saying, well, a equals 5.5 now, after I say a equals 5.5. If I want to get rid of this echo, say b equals a times 13.4, I can simply put a semicolon on the end of it, and that will suppress the output. In this case, we can now see up in the workspace that b is equal to 73.7. This is actually quite useful. So another thing that we need to know how to do is get rid of variables. So these variables will be here if we run programs, if we do all sorts of things. And sometimes we're going to want to use these for something else later on. And the other thing is, especially when we get into some of the later projects, you may have very large variables that can cause your computer and your program to slow down. To fix this, we can use the clear command. So you can do clear, and we can say, for example, clear A. Our A variable is now gone. If we do this in parentheses, we can say clear, and then we can say B, for example, in single quotes. If we just put clear B, you will get an error. So you type that and it's gone. We also have something we call tab completion. And so if I type clear, C-L-E, and I hit tab, it's going to give me a list of the functions that start that way, and we can find the clear right here and just click on it and hit enter, and it types the rest for us. This becomes really handy when you start writing larger programs. Now, what if we don't know how to use the clear function? We need to be able to seek help on it. So to do that, we can use the help command. So you simply type help and then clear. When we do that, it is going to bring up a description of how the clear function works, and you can scroll with your mouse up and down. This is really, really useful because this will allow you to see sort of what the possibilities of clear working are. However, it's important to note that this documentation is very limited. This is really here if you understand how clear works and need a refresher on what the syntax is or on some of the details. Additionally, it's also going to recommend to us some other functions that serve similar or opposite purposes, and to get the help for those, you simply just click on the blue link. Now, what if we want to see more information? We can say doc clear. Typing doc will open the MATLAB documentation for that command. Now we can scroll through our documentation and it's going to have information about how it works, and then it's going to have some examples. These examples are available for you to look at and see how they work, or if you're curious, you can always hit the open live script function here, and it will open it as what we call a live script. And all you have to do is go to each box and you can type Control Enter, and that will by default automatically run that code. We can then come to the next box and do that. You can write your own live scripts, and we'll describe that at a later time if needed. So now let's say you have no idea what the command is you want to use. Let's say we want to clear things and you don't know what to use. There's a command called look for that you can type. And we can do look for, let's say, clear. We know that we want to clear something, but we don't know how. When I push enter, it's going to go through the MATLAB documentation and find every possible command and function that contains the word clear in its description. It's going to keep going until it lists all of them. This can take a while, especially if you have a lot. But if we see already, oh, I see that the clear one up here, this clear is what I really want, simply hit Control C, and that will break you out of this look for command, and then you can simply click on the clear command right there to get the documentation. So this is actually quite useful. So now let's show you how to get to your initial course on MATLAB. So far I'm assuming that you've watched my C and C++ video that taught you about Arduino previous to watching this video. If you have watched those, it should be really simple for you to pick up MATLAB as a second language. The best way to do this is simply come over to the Home tab and then click in the Resources section, Learn MATLAB. When you click that, it's going to open up a web browser. This web browser is then going to launch this particular website, which is the MATLAB and Simulink training. If you don't get to this, it may ask you to log in. Simply use the login information that you had used to download MATLAB from MathWorks previously. If you can't remember this, you can create a new account. So the first thing to do is to use the MATLAB on-ramp. The MATLAB on-ramp takes approximately 2 hours to complete. It'll have this blue launch button right here next to it, and if you click that, it will take you to the table of contents for the course. So once you get here, you can simply click, for example, Course Overview to begin, and it's going to show you a video for the course overview.
Hello.
And then we can continue by using the next button to get to the next task. So the way that this works is it's an interactive online version of MATLAB. So if we look on the left here, it's going to say you can execute commands by entering them into the command window after the MATLAB prompt arrow arrow and pressing the enter key. Multiply the numbers 3 and 5 together with the command 3 times 5. So we can type 3 times 5. When I push enter, that's going to give you the correct response, and it's going to say, okay, push space to continue or escape if you want to try a different solution. Let's say we typed in a wrong value, and I said, say, 3 times 6. It's going to do that, and it's going to say the right input to matrix multiplication should be 5 because it's 3 times 6, and it says press escape to try again. And you can try it as many times as you want until you get it right. Once you get it right, you can press the space bar, and it's going to start you on your next task. By the end of the course, you will get to, and let me jump back into the table of contents, you will get check marks next to each one of your course topics. At the end, it will give you a certificate showing the completion of the course and that you should be ready to continue on with MATLAB and programming. There are other courses available through this interface, such as Simulink and specialized MATLAB training courses, including things like machine learning and machine vision. If you're interested, you can continue and complete those additional modules. I'd like to thank you for your time today and see you next time.